Sue, what is up? Thanks for writing in to Retire Right. My hubby retired and draws super plus receives full age pension. That's cool. Good on him. Well done. Thank you for your service, husband, Mr. Sue. I'm 7 years younger and over 60 years old. Every couple of years, I draw around 20K from my super, which is in the accumulation phase, to pay for holidays or big items needed for our house. How best to set this up so it doesn't disrupt my hubby's current arrangements?
Good question.
I don't know. That's why you're here.
So what Sue's referring to is, and we've covered this in strategies around where there's a gap between spouses. So Sue's hubby is in pension phase, so his superannuation is an account-based pension. Sue is in accumulation phase, so she's below the age of 67. So by keeping hers in accumulation, Centrelink are not counting her super towards Mr. Sue or her husband's Centrelink thresholds, which is why he's getting a full age pension. So that's a great strategy and that's performing well. What Sue's saying is that they need a bit more than what's coming out. And so there's two ways to do that. They can just take a bit more out of hubby's super. There's a risk there that might run out before she gets to 67. And again, there's other ways around that. But the strategy they're taking is that we'll just draw out of his, we'll take the age pension, and every now and then she's taking $20,000 out of her super to pay for some costs. So how to best set it up? Can you do that? Yes, they're doing it. She's over 60, she can take lump sums. What Centrelink don't want to see is that they're happy to ignore her super and accumulation on the basis that she's not regularly living off it. So if Sue was taking a regular monthly withdrawal of $1,000, they might go, well, yes, it's an accumulation, but you're really kind of living off on a regular income stream. So by doing more ad hoc withdrawals, like Sue's suggesting $20,000, that's fine. By taking the $20,000 out, it's not income for the husband, but what Sue's doing is it's taking it out of a hidden, off the page accumulation account in her name and putting it into a bank account of $20,000. Technically, the day they do that, they should log on to the husband's Centrelink portal.
Declare it as an asset.
Our bank account was $10,000. It's now $30,000. Now, depending on how far below they are the maximum asset test, that might have no impact at all. If they're below the full cutoff, where the bank account's 10 or 30, he's not going to lose any pension. But in case they are close to that threshold or if they are a part pensioner, technically that's what Sue should be doing to not underreport their assets for the age pension. If the day they take the $20,000 out is the same day they go to pay for the flights, well, the day that you paid for your holiday, it's gone. It's no longer an asset.
My question maybe would be, and Sue, go back to your financial advisor if you have one, why wouldn't you just take it out of his super?
Yeah, that's what I kind of hinted at the start is that's what we would normally do, particularly if you know it's needed. Just take a bit more out of his super. Now, the risk is that he's getting a full age pension, so he might only have $300,000 in super. We don't know how much they're drawing out.
And we can assume Sue must still be working.
No.
Hubby is retired and draws super. I am 7 years younger and over 60. So, because she's obviously got the access to it. Yeah,
so she's met a condition of release to be able to access her super.
Yeah.
So, there's there. So I would probably take it out of his. The disadvantage is that what happens if he runs out at 65 of his super and because we've drawn out too much and he can't take any more?
Hers on a income stream.
So you could kick hers income stream. If she has, say, $1 million, then that's why she's in accumulation because they're legally hiding that million. So an option then is she could take out $360,000, do a non-concessional for him and just top up his income stream rather than and do that as a one-off when he runs out or close to running out. Therefore, you're minimising any risk of accessing any out of hers on a regular basis.
And I really hope they've got a financial advisor and they have considered, recons and some razzle-dazzling because this is important strategy bits.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they've done at a high level. The strategy is sound, and maybe there's some tweaking there to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with taking the 20 out, but often I'd prefer to take it out of his rather than from hers.
My bigger question is, if they are self-managing this and, what are the investment pots in their super? Like, are they drawing down that 20K every week or every year rather? Is that coming just off a growth
bucket
pool or
yeah.
So that I don't know. I'm Sue. I'm not being harsh. I'm just a lot of the time just making entertainment.
Yeah,
and I totally
and
respect
things to consider.
It's good that they still have hers in accumulation mode, even if they are managing it themselves because they've been to the FIS officer.
Yeah, they've got some assistance to set this up because it is the right thing to get set up. But I'll pick up what you just said about the underlying investments because if they're both in just the balanced and they're drawing heavily out of it, they might be drawing 20% a year out of his, but they're drawing nearly nothing out of hers. And they're both in balance. Well, hers could probably be more aggressive because they're not touching it for 5 years. And I would argue his needs to be more conservative. So I've done this recently for a client, similar situation, and we've tweaked it so that in a similar case, the husband's older. So the husband's setup is closer to 30% growth assets and much more in defensive because we're heavily drawing upon it. And the younger spouse is the other way around. 80 or 90% in growth assets because we're not going to touch it for 5 years. If I average them together, we're getting back to the 60-40 that they want to be in with a couple, but we know we're drawing much more from the husband, so we probably should be much more conservative to take out the month-to-month volatility, and vice versa for the wife, the younger spouse. If we know we're not accessing it for 4 or 5 years, it can ride some of those ups and downs. As long as we're disciplined to not get scared and we're working with an advisor to make sure it all is working and probably adjusting every year. Sue's getting closer to 67, but that's definitely an element to consider around this strategy as well.
Yeah. Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.